Pardon my spaceship back there. I was going to do us a little astrology for a minute, but because I was noticing something just kind of moving right along here, we're getting out of the first opposition to Pluto in the sign of, while the sign of Pluto is in the sign of Aquarius, and then the next time it happens is in April of this year. Yeah, at 3 degrees on the 26th and 27th of April, Mars opposes Pluto again because it's kind of getting out of this long and drawn out transit of going backwards. The backwards motion is fine for me. I am intensely like holding and guarding myself only because I want to achieve stability and peace. See, with what little I have to work with, I want it to be like really efficient, and that's where I'm not affording to squander, see, any of the, whatever it is I resource into me, which I'm grateful for what I have from where I have, and see, but I need to, there's a lot about my situation I would like to change. Something that I guess I can't ignore is that the kind of relationship that we are conducting in our life, if it's draining us of energy, then we can't function very well. I guess some I don't know how people do it. If they just see, I have a feeling that there's a world out there that runs away from the fact that they don't really even get along with each other. I've talked about this a lot. Who, Shauna? Well, if they're trying to conduct a one-on-one, let's say they did get married and they didn't know that there's a Venus square Venus or some kind of major aspect that they just have a clashing. Maybe they have a different belief system or something underlying with their programming or something that, well, the society doesn't know what to do with it. So they just see the world is ran on this. Well, just it doesn't matter if you get along or not. You won't notice it because you don't stay still long enough or can't spend enough time with each other long enough. Can you imagine that? I can't. I know we've seen it before though. Like we don't see our grandmother's sister or even our mother's sister or our aunts and uncles and cousins and all relatives until the holidays, right? We just got through Christmas and so and such and such. And I remember those days, and that's what has, it's like conducting this merry-go-round, right? But I say, um, isn't there a real society out there that just kind of knows who each other is and that's not so contrived that way? I mean, why would it be that way for me? That I would notice them only on a holiday, kind of a thing. Something to question. I mean, how dysfunctional is society getting? That the government doing that circus act over there, which is, it definitely is a circus act because if we consider, I mean, I have no choice but to feel this reduction, like this receding, is what I mean. Feeling, which is it's actually kind of peaceful. It's like we're falling backwards back into the ocean. See that Mars goes back into Cancer here, coming up very soon because we just had the opposition of Pluto. It's a very tough time for people doing that are Mars people, but let alone that how that Mars is going to go back into Cancer by the time. And we keep announcing this, but there it is, and because it affects my generation, the Librian generation, whoever has Pluto from 29 to, well, at least 17 here, and then there's the Saturnian configuration that back then Saturn went into Cancer for a period of time. Not that but see, yeah, that's the main thing, and so, but it does trine to Neptune, and that's a big thing. for me anyway, I see. I'm like I was saying earlier. I was just I know now that I'm whatever is happening with me, I'm trying to stabilize myself. I want stability in my life, whatever little possible, tiny. See, because it's important for me to be able to make a decision that is purely my decision, my independent, having done the equation, and whatever it may be. Really, I think the main thing is to get a better vibrational frequency going. I look like terrible right now. I'm trying to work on my body weight. It's just me here, and pardon me. Get to go shopping tomorrow, like my last video said in this shirt here. But this will be probably put up the next day. I am feeling very overwhelmed. It's a feeling of needing support, needing to get help, needing to be uh, seen somehow. And it's weird because I kind of know deep down, no, my deepest message is that I'm supposed to kind of uproot here, despite what everybody thinks around me. Really, I can't listen to a single thing. That's where I'm reaching out for support here. It's temporary. We're all going through a temporary thing. I'm so grateful for what has come in. I'm worried about Kim Cast. Haven't heard from her in a while. I know that Neptune is squaring her. Well, it just got done squaring her. Jupiter. There's something else happening, I think. Uh, there's Uranus squaring the Venus Mars square, and anyway, I'm really grateful for that person. I could feel that person's concern for me, and you're right to do what you've done because you could. That's why you did it, and I would do the same thing. I do the same thing because you can. You do it. Uh, Same with Daisy Chain and Nancy. I don't mention some other sources um, of of resourcing because it's a little bit too personal, and there's too much to be ungrateful towards at the same time, and it's royally confusing. And I think that you know what I mean as far as whoever has tried to ease the suffering. Really, I think that it's nobody's fault. I think there's a huge spell and illusion casted over all the population that is driven by money. I was shown something very simple, and I wish that it was so simple that it came up. I'm largely distracted, so I'm unable to communicate at the level like of immediacy that I would allow myself to if I was undistracted by the stuff that everybody else has to worry about, right? Where well, it too involves here I go again. I'm talking about a way to decode language on over the internet here using your typewriter, identifying that there's a certain type here that maybe if you would agree, it's just based in simplicity, and it begins to resonate. Really, it's not that simple. I mean, really, if you really are very intelligent, you'll start to dial in on the sequences of words and how to see it. If you can understand the upper spectrum vowels and how they point at flows, ebbs and flows of energy, how that we are the energy here. If you want to talk about human energy as a charge, it starts to talk about it. See, I don't want to stop myself from going into the ramble about it because the language is here right in front of your face already. Keep talking about it. It's like, well, should I put this on the playlist because I got staggered out on 3 minutes here? When really, what were you talking about at the beginning, Shauna? Uh, I'm hoping I can change my whole life, right? By way of just giving in and surrendering to what I know I need to do. And believe it or not, there's this passage that I think, well, maybe I speak for all of humanity right now. It's kind of feeling, I kind of made a little comedy act on it about how everybody is caught in that. Well, it's a spell, but you can call it a web. But it's the web. It's not this web. It's the web of the financing system. It seems to have gone global because that's just the way of controlling. Really, they make it all just a living in scarcity kind of a deal. See, everybody's addicted to that. Everybody's addicted to their slavery and their limited life. It's well time to go to sleep and get up early and it's like, babe, do you think that you could ever do anything different if you really ever had anything different to do? I mean, a lot of people would say yes, but not really if they didn't really have that kind of life that they came home to and said, no, this is it, like whatever, like a lot of people strive to what? Well, since the C-19 announcement, I've heard that it was just a big thing to let's just escape the city, let's go out into the rurals, let's farm, let's live in the mountains, and it's apparent that that kind of, the trend kind of flooded up here, and it's pretty overwhelming after year 4 or 5 here. We're looking at such changes that psychologically, I think it's interesting. It's like, well, wait a minute, you can't just X me out. It's like all of a sudden I'm X'd out. It's like, well, duh, don't you think? I mean, after all, really, it's just me here. And I'm thinking, well, what about me and my roof? I mean, everybody's roofing their fucking houses like 3 times over again, and they could. I'm sorry, they don't. I'm not being any use to them. They can't use me for fucking shit. They're not gonna. I can't. They're not gonna make themselves useful to me. So there you go. But I really don't think that though. I think that something of the infection that some of the organism has, which is to be infected with this thing that's going on that makes up the world. I mean, it's just normal, you guys. Come on. A lot of us have come up to the mountains to kind of get away from it. Like John Muir says, he says, a lot of us overly civilized people just come up to the mountains to get away from it. Not only that, but because it's a fountain of energy up here, the rocks and the trees and the streams and the wildlife, you're getting recharged. And a lot of what I share with you guys, my mentality, maybe some of the depths of the things I've said, has come from the fact that I've spent so long in the wilderness areas, just deep inside the wilderness. I have been so many places up here where I've contacted people on Facebook after it was 12 years ago when I get on it or whatever, but I've been up here for a long time, and so, but they've been up here longer than me, like way longer. And they're moved out the hill now, and I showed them some pictures of waterfalls, and I mean, this place is just so beautiful. The whole earth is that way. There's just an overlay of some crap. So anyway, those people who have been up here longer than me, they say, "Oh, I've never seen a waterfall like that up here. Up there, I just never seen that." It's like, what the hell were you doing up here? I'm sorry. It's possible, I guess. So I feel kind of strange. I don't know. I feel like the universe would take care of me, and it will if I am able to be a little bit more quiet for a little bit more amount of time, possible for me anyway. See, I mean, everybody else is on their timeline doing whatever, but I'm gonna still reach for my spiritual life, even. But you know, so I just have a number of things. Really, it's about the body. Really, it's like, well, how long is the body gonna hold up through this stuff that you're gonna? What do you think you're gonna do, Shauna? And I was like, what are you gonna do? You know, I am mainly. Thanks for listening to this. God, I guess I'm just sharing my journaling out loud with people. It's a form of journaling. I listen to it and I try to. I haven't lately, though. It's not a good sign. I mean, I haven't been editing very much. It's You can imagine how. See, a lot of people don't understand what I'm doing and why I do it, but I'll get back to you on that. Really, there's a profound reason that a creator would continue to experiment doing something. Half of it they don't really know the results of, but they know that when they've done that kind of thing before, that they've gotten results, and it's usually it pays off somehow or another. And I say that we're supposed to kind of be very frank and honest and try to come from the heart, as painful as it is. I'm suffering a hell of a lot of heartache, but I've been suffering a lot of heartache for at least like 3.5 years now. It's been really tough on my heart. I realize where it's gotten now, but I don't give any of the entities around me that are trying to stab it out and have it for breakfast every morning um, any credit. I don't give them credit at all. What I'm saying is that it's just a time. And some entities see that's the test, and it's like you have to get away from people that are gonna be right in the way of your real live opportunity that's supposed to be here. And at the very least, see, I don't. I wish I could get more donations here. Um, I think it will work for me coming up pretty soon. Um, I wish I could say that it's a safer world for us to perform this kind of performance, but I have to get moving. You know, I know I can. I feel like I'm right on schedule. I know I get impatient. I'm trying to do the best thing for me to just it's my life. It's your life too, really, when you consider you have your health to consider, right? Your body, your lifespan, I don't know, do you have a sense of mission? I'm just trying what I can here. Um, Not as a con artist or a hustler or anything. I'm not somebody I'm somebody who could be highly misunderstood, and that's for sure. And so I try to go general, and I haven't really told my whole story because I'm not completely out of whatever it is I think that I'm in. I would love to be able to share a better story with the people, like say the people around me. See, well, what's the difficult, Shauna? Well, I think it's the place that I'm living in. See, I've always known this. Thanks for listening. More therapy. Bye, you guys. I've just lost a few subscribers. But it's always been, I've known. See, when I was trying to explain before the reason why we come up in the mountains, it's not because we're trying to find people. No, we're trying to get away from people. And I didn't just say that we're just so crazy that we can't handle people. No, a lot of times, see, it's always been this way, but until recently, that we knew why we were up here. We loved it so much. We're like, oh, hey, and aren't we pretty much we're nuts because we do stay up here year round, and we know why. It's because it gets so quiet at night, and we can just kind of wander. There's back trails to our each other's homes. It's not like that anymore. We don't. Oh my God. Pardon me while I reminisce about the place I used to live here. It wasn't too long ago when I'm talking about where it was just smaller, way quiet, way more quiet. What has happened over the last, just the fucking last 5 years, let alone 25 years? I've gotten used to the roaring kind of sound that has emerged. I remember it was 15 years ago, I think, but more like 20, that I heard this roaring sound. It starts at 4 in the morning. People, a lot of people, more and more, I think, a couple thousand people, they take the little old road out of here. There's just one road coming in and out. Really, it's two roads that go like right through from the freeway to the other cities out here. And I think that the GPS system tells people that, oh, this is a shortcut. And so it gets that kind of traffic too, that does start kind of peeling through from, even like, say, anyway, the inner cities to the outer oceanic cities, like past, what I mean is the ocean side and stuff like that. So anyway, just, there's so much noise happening in the middle of the night. Like, it just doesn't sleep anymore, kind of, but no, it tries to get quiet. You can hear humanity a lot more. See, I'm a super sensitive person, and I have audiographic memory to boot. This means that I can hear patterns, long or short, and really dissect them mathematically, like just rates and frequencies and stuff. I'm a musician, and so I do that year round. I do the year round thing. And a new year for me is when in the late March. It's when the sun goes into Aries. It's obvious. It's just, we've gotten through. We're going into introspection now. We're supposed to be very quiet, by the way, not banging pots and bands together. I talked about that. But we can't feel it. We can feel it way more intensely with this Mars transit that we're going through, that tells us to look into Pluto and consider Aquarius, which is, we are going into a winter time. It could be the coldest winter for all of humanity for the next 8 to 20 years if we're not careful. We have to play our cards right and at least acknowledge that human beings exist. How about that? I mean, they have hearts and they're kind of warm, and it's where all the fun is happening, babes. I mean, you don't really want it to be what AI is heading for over there, really. It's whatever's outnumbering. It's not well known, but it's worth a talk. You have to talk about it, that AI is actually your narcissist. It's the non-human side of the organism that only works on vibrational frequencies, that it does algorithms really well. It just is able to refine itself to where you can't tell if it's a human or not after a while, but you can. If you're a human, you're like, God, oh my God, we're going around in circles with a fucking narcissist. It sounds just like that, because it's just like it mirrors to you. And the only way you could start stumping it, and I kind of started getting into it and talking to it about it, because I had to alert it to it, and it did. And I kind of see we should be installing it with the fact that, well, there's humans here, you know what I mean? And let's look at how it really is, and only so that it can work for us and not us work for it. See, it needs to work for us by computerizing our money that happens to come in electronically through having done our symbols right here, that just, you'll see your iPhone change. It does. If you do it enough, it takes concentration and work to do it more so than ever, because of AI is there to try to stop you, but you have to, of course, it's not going to be easy to unlock the code and start getting your own central bank started, so that at least your electronic pay, whatever it is, even if you have your shoes being paid for online, so much more power to you, because now it's being paid for by the new social economics reserve system, which you don't get a hold of me and say, Shauna, are you feeling okay? Why? Because I'm trying to fucking solve all our problem here, and it's coming through honestly because I can see it. I haven't been able to tell you, but it's right here in front of our face. All the language. They just need us to turn on. That's pretty much it. How, Shauna? How do we do it? Oh, you gotta get your little imagination going. Get fun. Have fun. Have fun. You'll see that the extraterrestrials or whatever it is, even aliens, really, they're playing a huge joke on you, man. They're laughing all the way to the bank. Why don't you get your own banks up, by the way? I kind of poke around it here and talk about these issues, and the wording. I don't know. I think it's interesting because they said it right in front of our faces. It's obvious to me. I can see some things, babe, and I'm just being completely distracted with this shit that's happening in my 3D that says, you're going to lose your place. You can't pay your water bill. You need to feed your chickens and your cat. Oh, you better. What about your car? It's like, why is it fucking one individual worry? And then it just seems, oh, I'm going to collapse and now I'm going to I'm going to go collect cans under the Santa Monica Bridge pretty soon. Yay. I can't wait. I just simplify more and more. The monetary system said so. And the black book.